Hey everybody! If you're excited about everything related to the second edition of Frostgrave, or if you're still on the fence about whether or not to teleport yourself away from the original core rulebook, this video will give a general overview of what's new with the new edition without spoiling too many of the details related to this new version. Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, the channel formerly known as Dad's Playing Games. On this channel, I play tabletop games using toy bricks and blocks and discuss the rules and strategies that help to build the foundation of those games. You can check the description box below for timestamps for this video, as well as you'll find links to some of our other Frostgrave content. Now, you'll notice that I don't have my physical copy yet of the second edition. I have purchased it and it's somewhere in the shipping process. So in the meantime, I've purchased the Kindle version of the book so that I could find out everything that's new with the second edition. Now let's get to the bricks and blocks of this video. In this video, I'll be discussing why a second edition was released, some of the things that people were expecting to change with the second edition, and some details that might be easy to miss, and some things that kind of surprised me about the new rules. Near the start of the book, the author, Joseph Mcullough, discusses why he created the second edition. He made the first edition 5 years before this, and in those 5 years he's learned a lot about game design and he's listened to a lot of comments. If you're not aware, he is very active on the Frostgrave Facebook page and other social media sites, and he does a great job answering questions and commenting on people's miniatures that they built and their terrain, and he's a really active member of the community. But in this introduction, he states 3 reasons why he wanted to make this second edition. First was to make it more fun. Second was to clarify rules and balance some things. And third was to make sure that all of the supplements that he's released are still viable within the new edition. Over the past 5 years, an FAQ has been created. Numerous rulings have been made online through the various social media platforms. Supplements have been released that have created new or updated rules. And based on how involved you are in the online community and how many of the supplements you have, your game experience and the rules you use might be drastically different from another group that has access to all these other things. So getting all of this combined information together into one new book, I think really made a lot of sense. Prior to the second edition being released or even announced, there was a lot of chatter in the community about spells or entire wizard schools that were overpowered or underpowered. Talk about how the experience table favored bloodthirsty wizards that just wanted to go out and kill things. And there was also a lot of talk about imbalances with specific soldiers that are available in the game. With spells, if I counted correctly, there were 7 spells removed. Some of those were probably because they were overpowered. Some of these spells were kind of mediocre. They were removed, but then those abilities were actually combined with some of the other spells to make one spell that did 2 functions and made it more enticing. To fill that void, 7 new spells were created to add some power to some of those schools. And some spells in the game retained their original name but have drastically different effects that they have in the game now. There are many spells that have just minor changes, like differences in their casting numbers, some clarification on text, or maybe some changes to their range, things like that. So you'll want to read over all the spells carefully because some of the spells could have slight or subtle effects that could be overlooked quite easily. I think these changes will breathe some new life into the wizard selection, spell selection process, and will probably create some new combinations in gameplay. Looking at the troubles with the original experience table, the Maze of Malcor supplement introduced a number of new rules, including an updated experience table. This table focused less on killing things and more on casting spells and collecting treasure. And that supplement also introduced a cap to how much experience points a wizard could gain in a single battle. And the experience table found in the second edition book is very similar to the Maze of Malcor's, with just one minor change. But I think that with the new experience table, I think it'll do a better job of balancing various warbands against each other that are competing in a campaign together in a group setting. The soldiers of Frostgrave were the third big thing that needed to be addressed with the new edition, and they received a big overhaul. The main difference is that all soldiers are now classified as either standard or specialized soldiers, and you can only have a max of 4 of the specialized soldiers in your warband at any given time. I think the author nailed perfectly which soldiers should be standard and which soldiers should be specialized. For one thing, he put all of the archers in the specialized group, preventing you from having a warband of just nothing but ranged soldiers firing arrows. I also liked that the man-at-arms is a standard soldier instead of specialized. I always felt in the original first edition that the man-at-arms was probably the weakest soldier for its cost. I did a video that's linked below where I compare the man-at-arms to the treasure hunter and the infantryman, and I was always kind of bummed with the fact that they were the same cost as a treasure hunter, because when I play RPGs, I always like to be the sword and shield guy or the mace and shield cleric, and I just never really felt like the man-at-arms fit well into my warbands prior to the second edition. Some of the soldiers have had their stats changed, like the treasure hunter, which I believe was expected, and most of the soldiers' costs have been changed. Some are more expensive, some are now even free. For the most part, I agree with the changes, and I'm glad to see that rangers and trackers now have more differences in their stats than they had in the first edition. Also, in the back of the book, there's an appendix that talks about how all the supplements fit into second edition, including it has a table with all the soldiers that are added in those supplements and whether those soldiers are standard or specialized. Some other changes to note are that the treasure table has changed slightly. You'll be gaining probably less gold crowns than you were in the first edition. Some of the magical stuff you'll find has changed. Some things have been removed, some things have been added. The potion table is now similar to the potion table found in the Dark Alchemy supplement. And the bases that you can put your soldiers in and the resources that you can purchase for those bases, I think are a bit more balanced and also more worthwhile as far as the benefits that they provide. There are now caps to how high some of the bonuses for some of your stats can go. Encumbrance has changed slightly for some of the soldiers. And the book also contains 10 new scenarios, as well as the 10 original scenarios that have been slightly reworked to accommodate the second edition rules, so 20 scenarios in total. Also, there were a few changes in the rules that kind of surprised me. In the first edition, I don't believe there was any order to which you did your after-game activities, but now there is. And I'm a little surprised with where counting treasure falls into that timeline because it could cause some timing issues with leveling up now. With leveling up, you'll definitely want to read the section on how you can spend your levels as you're upgrading your wizard, because there's some new restrictions placed there that I think will greatly affect how wizards progress in the second edition. As for surprises I found with warband creation, you'll need to make sure you read the stats for the marksman, and you'll also need to read up on the spell Animal Companion. And as you flip through the book, you'll definitely need to check out the mystery of the Ring of Transference. There are a lot of other small or minor changes to the rules beyond what I've mentioned in this video. So first, be sure to go out and purchase this book. Support Joseph Mcullough's work to continue to release content for this game. And second, make sure to actually take the time to flip through the pages and learn all the rules and details so that you can know the bricks and the blocks that will build a foundation to a great experience with Frostgrave 2nd Edition. I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click like, or you can leave a comment below. or you can subscribe so that you can keep up with all the content that we're releasing. And with that, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and I'll see you on the next video.